This is the spot here where I think it was 1948, they found the body of the Somerton Man. That's really worth checking out.
I'm Trinity, and this is Plog Vlog. One walk, a handful of litter, and a story about purpose and care. We're in Adelaide, South Australia, about 1,600 kilometres from home as the crow flies. Wind licks the ocean. A tram sighs through a surprisingly clean city. My foster father didn't plan to plog here. Cities can feel Sisyphean when the rubbish returns by evening, but Adelaide surprised him. Streets were cleaner than he expected. Compliments to locals came easily. And for once, he felt the small act in a city would actually hold. Today we're exploring the construct appearance-contingent self-esteem. In plain English, building your sense of worth on how attractive or attention-getting you are. It isn't a verdict on beauty itself. Beauty's a gift. Attention can help. The caution is over-reliance. If your worth hangs on a look, time will tug at it. The practical response to the so what is simple. Design steadier pillars, skills, care, conversation, service, so you're okay when the mirror changes. Here's a question for you. Which parts of your self-esteem could time crumble, and which parts are built to last? Here's some context while you think. Adelaide now, then Mum's diaries later. I'm threading a day from 1993 when Mum, her name was Liz, and young David were travelling through the American South. The morning began on Beale Street, where tourist brochures promised magic. They watched the Peabody Ducks ride the lift to a red carpet, fanfare, crowd, and then only 4 ducks, which made everyone smile at their own overblown expectations. Later, they rumbled out on a World War II amphibious run, past Mud Island, the Great American Pyramid, the Lorraine Motel where a wreath hangs for Martin Luther King. The tone was wonder mixed with weight. Back to the present. Adelaide is a city drawn with a ruler, parklands holding the shape of it, light that feels Mediterranean, salt in the air from Gulf St. Vincent. City planners once imagined civic health would grow if people lived with trees and open space. Whether or not that was ever fully true, you can feel the intention in your stride. My foster father says intention matters. It sets a floor on decay. Adelaide's lack of litter may be evidence of its city planners' foresight. Jumping back to Mum's diary, on a bus to Graceland, in the afternoon, Liz and David arrived at the wall where fans had carved devotion into stone. David's journal muttered about the price of everything. He even wrote a little song that made him laugh at himself. David wrote this to fit the tune of Waltzing Matilda. We went to Graceland, what a disgrace, man, under the shade of a big money tree. He also counted costs. House here, cars there, film in a little theatre, planes for a separate fee. The mood of a theme park grafted onto a man's life. It wasn't his favourite kind of day. A moment that anchors our exploration of self-esteem being contingent on beauty came next. Liz saw a young staffer at the Jets, the Lisa, Marie and hound dog too, checking for boarding passes. He glanced at David's broad shoulders, the way gatekeepers sometimes do when they're worried about rules, or crowds, or trouble they can't name. Liz changed the air. A small compliment about his important job, a conspiratorial smile. And when the glance flicked back to David, she breezed, "He's just my brother, not as dangerous as he looks." The line diffused whatever the glance had gathered. The staffer waved her through. For Liz, doors often opened like that, charmed, not forced. Inside, she noticed the gold-toned seat belts, the TCB lightning bolts, how compact the cabin felt. It was over in minutes. No great heist, no moral collapse. A tiny bend in the rules that sat on a bigger pattern. If attention followed her, small obstacles softened. In her 20s, the currency of beauty felt endless. And this is where appearance-contingent self-esteem hides its hook. It works. Until it doesn't. Back with me now. Old David told me recently that as his own looks faded with age, and the doors didn't swing quite as quickly, he found something steadier. Conversation was enough, he said. Presence was also enough. Friendships stopped needing performance. He had once used his own attractiveness in the fitness world to braid companionship without commitment. There's no need to dwell on that beyond naming the pattern. But later, he discovered the relief of not needing that dance. I'm thinking about this a lot because I've just graduated from my teaching degree and been offered a 1-year contract with a Year 4 class next year. And yet, old David has made me fall in love with ideas, philosophy, psychology, sociology, just as Liz had helped him discover their wonder during that 1993 adventure around the world. Part of me wonders if I chose the wrong degree. If your pillars of worth sit on being the person who looks like they have it together, the tidy Pinterest teacher with laminated labels, what happens the day you don't? On the other hand, if the pillar is service, helping a 9-year-old catch the shape of fractions, or a class catch the habit of care, maybe that's solid ground. Maybe I need a broader conception of caregiving. Maybe beauty and competence and attention can live there too, but they aren't the foundations. Again, that question for you, now that you've had time to think about it. Which parts of your self-worth could time or fashion take away? And which parts are built to endure for your whole life? A quick reality check to keep us honest. Not everything that day in Memphis was charming. Liz and David ate bread near a bakery, where a worker, clearly unwell, casually vomited on the path outside the store, and then vanished through the service door. The world has its grotesque edges. Travel rubs your face in them. It's part of why the Graceland Circus felt so loud to David. He recorded one clean line and moved on. David wrote,
Adelaide, bloody good
"They
work.
charge money
Bloody
to see
good work.
everything. $8 for the house, $5 for the cars, $3 for the film. Prices were a mood, not just numbers." Old David sometimes lets me see bits of his old journals, but only select sentences, maybe a paragraph or two. Sometimes I wonder what he is hiding. Perhaps his feelings for Liz. 2 small links for newcomers. At Manchester Dam, we asked, what matters after our survival needs are satisfied? At Karawatha, we named alloparenting, raising non-biological children, as a pillar of my foster father's self-esteem. At White Rock, we explored finding purpose in later life, while walking among pale sandstone. Those threads run under this one. They all point to the same thing. If you can place your weight on steadier pillars, you're more sturdy when the winds change. It's all part of the answer to the riddle of steel, knowing what makes us strong. I'm a newcomer to this, but I have people around me who have been studying philosophy, psychology, and sociology for decades. They share, and I listen, and contemplate what I learn here on Plog Vlog. I'm fascinated to hear what you think. Back in Adelaide, my foster father kept saying how heartening it was to see so little litter. He would point to a clean verge as if it were a compliment to the city. And when he did find rubbish, he picked it up with a kind of joy. That's another pillar, I think. Care expressed in small acts. No one notices, no doors open, but you change the ground a fraction for the next person.
Maybe we'll see
and
Mr. Percival.
You don't need to be pretty to do it. He laughs that he's evidence of that. So here's the mapping, as promised. When Liz had an attention channel, access improved. Free entry to a paid thing, a line that worked, a smile that softened a rule. That's power. The risk is tying your worth to whether the channel is open today.
Good morning, Mr. Percival.
When old David learned to anchor value in conversation and presence, the outcomes improved in a different way. Friendships that didn't wobble with the mirror. And for me, choosing teaching or anything will be safer if I keep the pillar on service, not status or shine. Back with me now. Last turn. Beauty isn't the villain. It's a visiting light. If you're lucky, it passes through your life and warms it. Perhaps just don't build your house on it. If you want to take part, the action is simple. Check the pinned map, visit Adelaide if you're nearby, and pick up 5 pieces of something small that shouldn't be there. It's ordinary work, and that's the point. Maybe the ghost of the Somerton Man will thank you.